Hey everybody, you listen to the Wombo podcast. I'm Chipmunk. With me as always the Mr. Gimpy.
What up, Chip?
What's happening, dude?
Dude, a whole lot, and I got some updates, man. I got some updates.
Nice, man.
But,
Crazy
let's just get into it. Let's just get into it right away. No fluff.
Okay.
No, just ready to go. Pig Game is zooming along right now, man. I gotta tell you.
Nice, dude.
As I said the last time, I was working on behaviors, and the pigs were starting to refuse orders. Now
the mutiny, dude.
Personalities are set.
True Animal Farm going on over there.
Yeah. Each pig has a personality bias where if they like to work, some like to play, some like get really anxious when they're hungry. You know.
All right.
I have
it's a whole society, dude.
I have a addiction system now because, as you know, to get money in the game, your pigs will forage for truffles for you. I have a system where if the pig's hungry and they're holding a truffle, instead of depositing it into the truffle bin, it will eat the truffle. And if it eats enough
greedy
truffles,
little pig, dude.
The pigs will only want truffles, and their speed will get higher, and they'll just zoom around the map looking for truffles to eat, because that will be the only thing they desire. So you can still collect the truffles from them by tapping or clicking above the pig before it eats it. But yeah, the addictive personality is in, and it's pretty great to see.
Nice.
So I just opened the game last night when I got done kind of with the coding I was doing, and just let it run. And this must be what it felt like for the people, or for the guy who made Roller Coaster Tycoon, or the Maxis when they made The Sims, and they kind of got all of their AI systems working, or anything else, because without me interacting, the pigs, outside of just building the food bins and the truffle building, I just let them go, and they lived their lives, man. So
that emergent behavior, dude.
Yeah.
You just watch them, the colony of ants.
Exactly. Sim ant. Yes. So that's absolutely huge. So now, just more personality quirks, behavioral quirks that I'm adding for a nice varied game feel. On to the next one, and progress has just taking big incremental steps forward. And honestly, I've gotten much better at development through this project too. I took a break, for the holidays, and I came back. I took good notes and kept going, and this was the biggest hurdle for me anyway, where working on the project isn't that big of a hurdle, but it's stopping and getting back into it, as we've preached on this pod quite a bit. Take good notes, but at least for me, I was more preaching it as a good thought, without actually doing it. But now I put my words to action, and fantastic, man. I'm in a great place. So I am having a blast, and we're getting closer and closer to getting the final polish pass done on this thing and getting it released
don't get caught up in a endless loop of you're now I'm so much better, let me start over.
Oh no, that's not happening at all. No. But I appreciate the lookout. How about you, man? What's going on with you, man?
Been on a spiritual journey, dude. It's been a roller coaster, dude, of everything, dude. All the stages of life and grief and everything else in between.
Gotcha.
So I had an idea that was sparked by a conversation we had, and I was all right, let me try and pursue this, but I'm gonna try and do it in Godot because I wanted to be able to port it over to the handheld I have, the
the bootleg AliExpress handhelds.
Yeah, the Unix handheld using Portmaster, and Portmaster is a convoluted, beautiful mess. I appreciate those guys. I joined their Discord. There was another bit of a roller coaster in of itself. And man, I still don't like Godot. I don't know. I've got it up. I was using the 4.6 build.
Yes.
There's it's just endless nesting. It feels like to me. And I understand it's once you get it, and it becomes easier. To me, it just felt like a you gotta go through a doorway into another doorway into another doorway to get to like I'm like, oh, I want to just edit this objects material. It's like, all right, well then have a node 3D set up, then make a scene with it, and then like nest that into another scene, and now you can finally apply the material. Oh, you want to change the how it's doing, collisions? All right, same thing. And it's, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird, man. I don't get it, but I kind of am starting to get it, and I don't like that. Like I just, I don't know.
Once you get it, you get it.
Yeah. So yeah, I was doing that. It was a pain. I got the trench broom to work with it. I was importing models and stuff with that. Got that stuff working. Bought a $5 plugin that goes right from Blender to Godot to make like a GLFT file.
Okay.
And that worked. That was awesome. I was like, man, I was watching this guy like explain his video, and I was like, man, if this thing's like $5 or less, I'm instantly buying. This was like $5. I was like, boom, instant buy. And it worked, which was nice, because sometimes like they'll do like a demo thing and like things get outdated because everything's open source.
Yes.
So you'd be like, oh yeah, this worked in like this specific version. So I'm running into that problem with like another thing so at that point I started just getting the basic stuff working. I got it over to Portmaster, got the template menu working, got the shooting, moving working. It works, it's great. And then I was like, all right, cool. And then I was like, what else is going on out there? So I started looking at Love 2D. So, because like, I was like, what else works with like Portmaster, where like maybe I don't have to deal with like this convoluted system that I'm not quite vibing with.
Yeah.
So I started messing with like Love 2D, and I got that working almost instantly. And I was like, yo, maybe this is it. Maybe this is the move.
You've always like dabbled in Love 2D, not only just like making little tiny projects, like just kind of like a proof of concept things, but whenever we mentioned game dev programs, engines and things here, you always will mention Love 2D, and there's like this little twinkle in your eye. There's this, like you need it, you want it to know that you know it, so how'd that go?
I want it to be better than it is. I don't know. It seems like whoever's developing it seems to be like lost in their own sauce, and they're like, they have a very specific vision for it. And that's cool. But I just want to use it to make games, and it feels like it works really well at getting 2D sprites, because it only does 2D stuff. Love 2D, but they also have like plugins, and I don't know, there's like all these libraries and stuff. It's just a framework. Like you're just coding in a coding editor. I use Visual Code or whatever, and it's nice. I've got the tiny ECS plugin for it, so now I can use like Entity Component System, and that also seems like an extremely convoluted way to program. But what we're just talking about of like documentation and stuff, and like once you kind of get it, you get it. For somebody who doesn't like containers inside of containers, bro, like this all entity components.
You don't like the Russian nesting doll approach to life.
Yeah. And then like this is all that type of scripting is. But I was watching this, I was reading around on it, and like I watched some other people, and like I got into this when I was messing with Rust and dabbling in Rust for a little bit, because the professor was like, yo, what about Rust? And I was like, what about Rust? Let's go, bro. Let's do it.
Everybody says.
Yeah. And that's got like the same type of issue where everything's kind of like a component, and it's a different approach from like object oriented programming a little bit. I'm not smart enough to explain the differences, but it definitely feels more. It makes sense once you know how to use it, and you also make sense why like all the tech bros preach about it, because like they want to make you redundant and fireable and replaceable. Like everything becomes very modularized, but because of that, like you can pull out like any part of the widget and like the whole will still work, right? So all the gears on the machine will keep going, and then you can it's very efficient at certain things, and that makes it good for like server development stuff. So like if you're building like backends for whatever, like it makes a lot of sense, especially like when you get into like groups of more than 100 people of coding. You're like, okay, yeah, I understand why like you would want this to be extremely modular. It has to work on its own and work within a greater sum of its parts are individually.
So you think you're using the language outside of its scope, essentially?
I think that's like what everyone kind of comes to the realization to, who does like any sort of actual, like finishes an actual game with it. But, and like, I think this is like the kind of like the the meme of the two dudes like digging for the treasure,
Yeah.
where like the one gives up and turns away right before the diamonds. I think where it shines the most is in any one singular project. It's like a compounding value because it's so reusable. So like
Okay.
80 to 90% of the scripts you make, you can reuse across anything else. And it's like, because it's so modular, right? So it's like, yeah, it sucks. It's not good for a game jam. It's not good for like a single game. But like if you are in it for like the long haul, it's like you're slowly building up like a library, and then like you become like way faster than like any single one of those things.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Well, and
So,
just to update everyone on the pod, this may be their first time listening. Chip, would you say you were Unity first on your game dev journey, as far as what you would prefer, and that's the systems you're used to? So when you're looking at other engines, you're whether consciously or not, comparing it to your experience in Unity.
yeah, probably. I think like Construct 2 got me into it, where it's like a lot of like, line item, like very straightforward. And Unity also is basically kind of like the same thing, where it's like kind of a, whatever that thing is, the acronym, what you see is what you get type of editor. I enjoy that. Like you throw a thing on there, it gives you like the main engine editor points, transforming, scaling, all this stuff. And then you just like bang on scripts onto that. And that also can become a convoluted mess as well.
Yeah.
And then there's like also things with like parenting and like inheritance for like nesting things. And I know Godot has like those same problems, but like you can get around it by like making reference links and stuff instead of like a direct, like instead of parent, look for like this object. And like Unity has like similar things. I'm more into like now like signals and receiving and stuff. And like, again, Godot can also do this. Like there's no bad engine. Right. There's like anything you get out there, you can make games with. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I've had this problem a lot when I explain things, and like, maybe you get this too, when you start looking at things more from like a critical lens. You don't necessarily, you can have critiques on a thing and not hate it. You just see like its strengths and weaknesses, and you're like, okay, it could do this better, could do that better, or it could do this, it does this really badly or poorly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely think consciously or unconsciously, I tend to compare things to Unity. Just because of like what you see, what you get. And I'm an artist first and foremost. Like I'm not a programmer. Of like whatever makes those tools easily accessible to the artist to make scope changes to things.
Yeah,
I think is probably the best. I also enjoy frameworks now because you're already doing like the art side like separate from it, and then you're just like pulling things in and you're doing things very programmatically, and it's another layer of abstraction, and it tends to be way faster at everything because it's doing nothing on the top of that. So it's like, oh yeah, built like this whole, like that little train game I showed you, like the biggest part.
Let's chat about that a little bit. So the train game, I'd more
toy
call
box.
it like a toy box. You made it with Love 2D. So how long did that take you? And I'll do a little GIF here.
Again, bro, this has been the journey of everything, bro.
Okay.
So like I started making I was following along. There's like a Love 2D tutorial out there. Shout out to the YouTube community of somebody making like a Zelda clone in Love 2D, and they like walk you through everything. There's another guy who like does like a really great, like this has kind of been like my struggle piercing through the veil of Love 2D is like, because it's a framework and it's weird. And like, again, I said this before, it's like every year, everything gets better. All the tooling gets better. All the resources get better. So like, this has always been my game dev experience. Since like, and I've been doing this for probably over 10 years now. And so, before it was like, you download like Love 2D and then you're like, okay, how do I run it? And then like you get like a, Visual Studio up or whatever. And then like you make like, your first little project file. And then it's like, all right, so now what? And so before it's like, you'd have to go into your project file, zip it all, change the zip to like a .love, drag that over to like the love.exe that's hidden in like your user app data. Now there's just like a plugin in Visual Studio where it's like, just hit like Alt L and it'll run. And then you just tell it where like, Love 2D's at. And then like, there's also like a library that allows you to do like hot preloading so you can like see real-time changes and all this stuff. So I say all that to say, following along, Zelda tutorial, learning things, everything's gotten better in the community, a little bit more documentation, still not enough really out there for like anyone getting into stuff. I would still recommend like Construct or Gdevelop. I think a lot of people are like, yo, Unity, Godot or Unreal, like just pick one and start. I'd say just construct or G-develop, pick one of those and start and see if you even enjoy game making and development. Because like those will let you sketch out your ideas really quick. I'm humming along. I got the sprites. I got the tile map. I'm using tile to import the map data into Love 2D. Everything's golden. I got a little Zelda guy going around. He has a little sortie slashes. I've sent you the thing where it's like all boxes.
Yes.
It's even better now because I actually have sprites. So you're like, all right, I kind of get this. And as I was sitting there making that, I was like, I still want to finish this project. And then, technically it's kind of finished, but I'm, thinking more of like a Binding of Isaac, and I want to have like my own little things on top of that now that I'm doing it. And I was like, all right, the next game I want to make is, and it's not, again, it's kind of like the Toybox situation where it's like not a game I don't understand like the fun, and I quickly prototyped it during the week, where it's like it's a reverse rogue light, like where like the guy goes through the dungeon automatically, like you generate like a little maze dungeon, and the guy like navigates through to the end to get to the next level of the dungeon.
Okay.
But your part is like you place the treasure in the dungeon. Like, so I was like, all right. Yeah. So I was like, all right, let me quickly like make something to place treasure. And once I did that, I was like, you know what else you can place? Train track. so I was like, all right. Cause like I already have the system, and it's like already,
Sure.
All I'm changing is sprites, and instead of like anything else, I'm like, all right.
And you bound the auto to the track. So yeah. Okay.
No, instead, so like I couldn't do pathfinding that way. I tried that. That was a fool's errand because of the way like trains turn.
Okay.
So instead I used like again, this is like something you get a little bit more with like experience and stuff. I was like, I'm trying to get this thing to run around a track. And I was like, all right, I could keep coding this. I'm not smart enough to like lerp between two interpolative points. Like, is this like an algebraic formula? And I'm sure somebody's out there has, I was like, I'm sure somebody else has it. And I know I could try, like, they have like a tween library. So I tried that as well. And like, it just didn't quite look right. And I was like, you know what I need? A Bezier curve, dude. So then like, I like looked up, the Love 2D, and I was like, yeah, sure enough, they got like a 2D like curve you can do. So I just drew that around like the boxes, and then it just like follows like a curved line. And I was like, nice. So now I can just try and like the slope of those curves on the, that curve line tool that they have. And like, you don't see anything. It's all through code still, but it's looks better, runs better. And then I was like, all right, yeah, cool. And then I messed with some shaders. I was looking at like how they did the CRT thing on Balatro. I was looking at like shader toy.
Which Balatro was made with Love 2D, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
again, like this is, I don't know, maybe it's like a little bit deeper conversation, but it's like,
yes,
because Love 2D doesn't have like any of the stuff to encrypt stuff. Like it's just a framework. Like you can like get Balatro source files really easily.
Well,
like,
let's shift gears here. Go on. I'll let you finish, but go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh, because I was going to say, speaking of, looking at the files raw, Slay the Spire 2, made in Godot, probably the biggest indie game made in Godot to this date. And
it's huge. One of the first big
not encrypted, as far as I know. And just able to see the structure and all of that and how it was made. You get to see the sausage pre-casing, and I think it's fantastic for the game dev community. And the Megacrit, the devs of Slay the Spire 2, said, go ahead. We hope it helps. It helps anyone to see how a shipped product looks, how it's structured. A lot of their other stuff is in C, so a lot of like just starting.
They went from Unity to there.
Yes, but they've also, a lot of the stuff they've done too is using what is it? I forget what the Godot language is. Is it GScript? Is that what it's called?
GD script.
GD script. Okay, yeah. There's some things that are in there. So I Megacrit has been just quietly being phenomenal in terms of a company and just how they're run and the realistic way they look at the industry. When Unity had its price model switch, they said, you better switch this back, otherwise we're not gonna use this anymore. They switched it back kind of, but it wasn't to the pre-decision point, and Megacrit said, we're done. We're going to use Godot. We're just going to stop. We're going to they were mid development of Slay the Spire 2, right? They're like, we're just gonna start over. I'm just gonna use Godot. So they did a month-long game jam to just learn the engine, and they made a game that's on itch.io, which I'll link here as well. Learned it, and then they started plugging away in Godot for Slay the Spire 2. I think that is fantastic. When asked about potential piracy, they said, you can't stop it. Just if you want to support the game, but you can't stop piracy, which is true, right? I mean, there's ways you can encrypt things, but everything gets broken, everything gets stolen. It's just the nature of the beast, especially when you have a digital product. It's gonna happen. So just make the game. You don't have to fight the world. Make the game. And I absolutely love that for Megacrit. And this is.
That's always step one of like any just make a good game, dude. Like it's step one, no matter like the marketing or anything else. It's like you can't fight the tides of everything else, but you can make a good game.
Yes. Yes. So I thought that was absolutely fantastic from Megacrit, and they should be seen as, for us hobby developers, indie developers, just as a way to see that our way of development, our way of life, is echoed in across the larger industry, and so I think I'd love to see that as an example.
I think it's like really healthy too, because I think you see this especially like in a hobby space, like where people become like super precious with their ideas and stuff too. With like, I can't share, I can't put this out there, I can't make a demo. Somebody's gonna steal my idea. It's so good, and then like you see the idea like a trained Toybox, and you're like, yo, bro, you didn't really cook with this one. But it's like, I see the vision and you execute it. It's beautiful. I'm glad that you spent a weekend like, doing this, but, maybe not make this like your magnum opus or build it like in a cave for 4 years. So, I think it's like a very healthy approach to like game development on every level, is to be like, if you have the good idea, step one is execute on it, share with like other people, bounce things off. Like it's hard, man.
Making games is hard.
Yeah, it's extremely hard.
And you're wearing 14 different hats, per day. So it's, they always change. Yeah. So, yeah.
So then I went to the interwebs, dude, and you talk about like a game jam with these guys to learn Godot. Because I was like, on my own, I was getting kind of burnt out. I was a little upset. That's why I was like doing stuff in Love TD. And then, so I was like, all right, man. I tried to find like teams of people. So I was like, all right, let me hit up Reddit. Like, is there anybody out here who's doing this? I found a group of dudes who were like, yo, we're trying to make like a 3D survival type horror game, and Godot, anyone interested? I'm like, yo, I'm somebody, I'll join up with these guys. And I don't know, this is kind of like not necessarily a problem, but like interesting. Like you're hitting up with people at different skill levels and like disciplines. And like they showed me like the vision. They had like kind of like a top-down map of it, and then like I was like, all right, yeah, I know Trench Broom. I got that working in Godot. Let me like block this out real quick. I told him I'd do like level design for him, which is like a weird discipline. It's like you're making like the feel of the game, the general layout.
Yes.
Like the art director picks kind of the vibes.
Yes.
A level designer kind of executes on that and then like builds out like the gameplay feel. So I made like the entire like layout from like their designs and stuff, put that in there, and then had somebody like a character moving around, and there already had like a first person shooter template from Godot, so I was like using that just to like move around, and then like I was like telling them like, yeah, how do you guys feel about this? And like they just weren't sure. they're like, oh yeah, this seems good. I'm like, yeah, like I'm considering like line of sights and stuff here, because like if you're like looking here, you can see like this angle and this angle down the aisle, and then you can see like the front door here. But like if like something happens over here, like you're going to turn your back to the door, and like that's potential for like a jump scare. And then like if we have a monitor down here at the desk, you can still see like over like at the counter at this point. But like if we have it up in like above the counter, then like you can't see things like crawling underneath the screen. So it's like just those type of considerations and stuff. And yeah, I redid like the map like 3 or 4 times based on that feedback and stuff, and gave it to him. And it's been going on for about a week now, and we had like a little team meeting on Discord the other day, and I think that went pretty good. But I was also like, yo guys, I did my level design part, like I'm probably going to tap out at this point for the project, because I don't want to do any 3D modeling or anything else. Like I know how to do everything. I can make a game, but I'm just like, I don't enjoy it.
Humble too.
Yeah. Yeah, man, you gotta be.
Go on. Go on.
It's hard skills, dude. And
It is.
like
It is. So
I think I also.
I was gonna say, with just for everyone, they're like, why don't you guys make a game together? I've made it a point to say that we did the Gamejam together, but the pig game is my sole focus right now, so this is why. But anyway,
yeah, no, it's like I'm not above like working with. I think like we've always been the superhero team up. I've always said that. Where I was like, listen, man, we've been wasting time teaming up with all these other fools and haters, dude. It's time, dude. Like, I was like, well, we combine our superpowers. It's when we can really execute on something, but. Aside from that, though, it's what I've been enjoying most is like just working in Love 2D and like messing with like ECS and stuff. But I'm not really a programmer, and like I haven't been doing much art except for I still been sticking to my like daily discipline on the drawing pad, the tablet. I download like a A-Sprite like ripoff. So I've been doing a little pixel art stuff in there.
Why not just
as
use
well.
A-Sprite?
I don't know if they have an app on the store, on the Play Store. They might. I might have. It might be what I'm using, and they just like renamed it for the Play Store. So I don't know.
Maybe.
They just picked like the one that was there available on the Play Store, dude. I'm a I'm a lemming, dude. I don't. Like, I got like the draw thing. I got like an animation program on there that I paid for. So I'll dodge between like those three things, like depending on how I'm feeling that day. I'm like, I'll just do some 2D drawing with pencil, or I'll do some sprite, or I'll do some like animations. I'm still doing that. I'm still getting that like fulfillment, and then at night I've been like moonlighting as like a bit of a bootleg programmer, messing with this stuff and trying to build out like a little bit of that library of stuff on Love 2D. Where again, that's my thesis at least, is like it'll compound. It's not like any one of these things, and it sucks, dude. Like it's really not a good way to program for games, because most video games are held together with like duct tape and like bubble gum and spit. Yes. And they work. It just works. That's all you need it for. Because again, I think like most people like preaching about like Rust and like all these like memory strong programming languages that it's harder to create like leaks, and like talking about like heaps and all this shit where you're like, oh, what's the memory pointer looking at, and like how can we maximize this stuff? This stuff's cool if like your goal is to have a lot of stuff on the screen at the same time.
Yep.
But if you're just trying to make like a normal video game for like regular folks, dude, like you probably don't need it. Like and then again, it depends on like your ambition and goals too. Like if you're planning to do it as a hobby long term, and I think like if I was looking like 4 years down the line, it's like, wouldn't it be awesome if I had like a whole treasure chest full of like just scripts I can just pull and then make things extremely quickly, because I've already done like my own type of like framework and building. And it's weird that like there's just not like a open source attempt to do this, like, hey, I'm just a dude, but like what if we got a bunch of dudes and dudettes together and just like threw together like all this stuff?
Isn't that kind of what Godot was trying to do?
With like an engine level, but like and like
I was gonna say it's I mean, like, the community's there.
Templates,
it may not be what you're wanting specifically, but I think that's probably the closest that we have currently.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I like a Cave Engine. I think they're all right. They cost money though. It's a perpetual license, and it's cool. I think they use Python for the scripting, and like that was like one of the engines like helped him out early on prototype and stuff, and like all the stuff I think I helped him do. Like again, those high level design decisions as like an artist looking at an engine. Everyone seems to love. Like in the comments, they're like, "Yo, this is brilliant. How come other people don't do this?" Like, and I'm like, "Yeah, exactly, bro. That's what I was saying, bro." Like, so I think like if you could get like an artist early on in like whatever engine, if you're thinking about building an engine out there, or like I don't know, like even like things like Unreal, where I like Unreal, but I want to love it, and it makes it hard to love because they use blueprints. And I know they're going to switch to like the Fortnite scripting language at some point, which I think is Lua, maybe. But
I haven't looked into it myself, so
yeah, it's what I don't understand is you got like this $1 billion corporation, and it makes it incredibly hard to build a community when you're like, oh, how do I open a door? And then like you have to kind of explain in text on a visual scripting language. It's like, oh, first you need to like type in this to get this node. Then you need to connect this node to like this input. And then you take that and like you're using like this big graph thing. Sure. And I'm like, yo, you got $1 billion. Make a web component. Make a GitHub for Unreal blueprints. Somebody. Unreal, like if you want to talk about like $1 million ideas, dude, just do that. And like it probably is until it isn't, because again, they're gonna upgrade at some point to actual scripting.
Yeah.
But if you could just copy paste your blueprints into the web and then share that code snippet with other people to get help on things, or like share it to be like, oh, this is a door, so we're not rewriting door code for thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. We're just trying to like make a game, dude. Like, it's weird, man. And again, everyone acts like they have like the secret like sauce formula where it's like most people are making things exactly the same way, dude. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Let me end on this, man. The flickering light code that most FPS games use is John Carmack's from Quake. It's been used
in everything
for 35, almost 40 years.
There's a plug-in for Godot with it.
We always preach, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, don't reinvent the wheel, and that's an example. But yeah, man, anything you want to wrap up on to say, or good to go?
Yeah, it's been kind of nice doing like these podcasts and stuff, and it's been keeping me like more focused, and I'm kind of like you where I'll take breaks and stuff.
Yes.
I don't know, what'd you call like a fugue state of coding, where you can take a fugue state where you're like, I got a fugue state of game development.
Yes.
Or like we'll go hard for a little bit with like your free time, and then like usually you run into some sort of pain point. You're like, I need to take a break.
You need a reset. Yes. A grounding event. Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone's had this too, where like, even if you're playing like a difficult game, and then it's like, sometimes you just need to like go to sleep and then like wake up and the answers will come to you. Like,
yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So, yeah, it's nothing wrong with taking little breaks and stuff and keeping your hobbies enjoyable. And it's incredibly difficult to do. And I think there's nothing wrong with like paring it down to like what you enjoy about making a game. You don't necessarily have to do everything yourself, and you probably shouldn't.
Yes.
Yes. But it's hard to get a team of people that are actually going to stay committed to any sort of project long term. So even in a group setting, like you want to scope it down.
Yes.
And just like basic stuff like that. We had that Godot team meeting and took notes, had meeting notes because I'm an adult.
Yeah.
So it's like there's like like four of us in there, like we're all talking blah blah blah, and then like we came up with like action items or whatever. But afterwards, I was like, Joe, every meeting I've been in, like I'm usually take notes or whatever, for like the next meeting, and I was like, should probably write this down before, because like I'm gonna forget. Like most people are gonna forget.
Yes.
If you're working on a project, write your notes down. Like, well, what do I need to do still? Like, what's broken? Why is it broken? Like, what have I tried? Good naming conventions. Sometimes you're going to be in a map that you made in Trenchbroom, and everything's called brush entity, and you're like, I should probably rename this so people can read like what these are. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that being said, it's been the Combo Wombo podcast. I'm Mr. Gimpy. That's
Chipmunk.
Like, share, subscribe. We'll be back next time. Take care, everybody. We out.
Peace.